Growth Mindset, Grit and Resiliency by Desert Edge School. Your beliefs can sabotage your behavior. A fixed mindset, how your beliefs can hurt you. According to Carol Dweck, in a fixed mindset, students believe their basic abilities, their intelligence, their talents are just fixed traits. They have a certain amount and that's that. And then their goal becomes to look smart all the time and never look dumb. Growth mindset, how your beliefs can help you. According to Carol Dweck, in a growth mindset, students understand that their talents and abilities can be developed through effort, good teaching, and persistence. They don't necessarily think everyone's the same or anyone can be Einstein, but they believe everyone can get smarter if they work at it. For example, saying, "I'm not good in math," becomes an easy excuse to avoid learning a new math skill. Instead, say, "This is a skill I need to get better at," which would encourage you to try something new and practice to get better. Some phrases that might indicate you have a fixed mindset include, "It's hard for me to lose weight," "I'm not good with numbers," "I'm just not a creative person," "I'm a procrastinator." People with a fixed mindset tend to do the following. They shy away from challenges. They have a fear of making mistakes. Equate making mistakes with failure. They do not take appropriate risks. They may avoid new experiences. And they definitely miss out on opportunities to grow.
Virtually all great people who've been successful in any field have possessed growth mindset qualities. But how can you develop them in yourself? Step 1. Learn to hear your fixed mindset voice. When faced with a new challenge, the voice might say, "Are you sure you can do it? Maybe you don't have the talent." But what if you fail? You'll be a failure. People will laugh at you for even thinking you had talent. If you don't try, you can protect yourself and keep your dignity. When you hit a setback, the voice might say, "This would have been a snap if you'd really had talent. You see, I told you it was a risk. Now you've shown the world how limited you are. It's not too late to back out, make excuses, and try to regain your dignity." As you face criticism, you might hear yourself say, "It's not my fault. It was something or someone else's fault." Constructive feedback might make you feel angry at the person who's giving you feedback. Who do they think they are? I'll put them in their place. Even if the feedback is specific and very constructive, you might just hear, "I'm really disappointed in you. I thought you were capable, but now I see you're not." Step 2. Recognizing that you have a choice. How you interpret challenges, setbacks, and criticism is your choice and yours alone. You can interpret them in a fixed mindset as signs that your talent or abilities are lacking, or in a growth mindset as signs that you need to ramp up your strategies and effort, stretch yourself, and expand your abilities. It's up to you. So as you face challenges, setbacks, and criticism, hear the fixed mindset voice and Step 3. Talk back to it with a growth mindset voice. As you approach a challenge, the fixed mindset says, "Are you sure you can do it? Maybe you don't have the talent." The growth mindset answers, "I'm not sure I can do it now, but I think I can learn to with time and effort." Fixed mindset, "But what if you fail? You'll be a failure." Growth mindset, "Most successful people fail somewhere along the way to success." Fixed mindset, "If you don't try, you can protect yourself and keep your dignity." Growth mindset, "If I don't try, I automatically fail. Where's the dignity in that?" When you hit a setback, fixed mindset. This would have been a snap if you really had talent. Growth mindset. That is so wrong. Basketball wasn't easy for Michael Jordan, and science wasn't easy for Thomas Edison or Albert Einstein. They had a passion and put in tons of effort. As you face criticism, fixed mindset. It's not my fault. It was something or someone else's fault. Growth mindset. If I don't take responsibility, I can't fix it. Let me listen, however painful it is, and learn whatever I can. Then, step 4. Take the growth mindset action. Over time, which voice you listen to becomes entirely your choice. Whether you take on the challenge wholeheartedly, learn from your setbacks and try again, or hear the feedback and act on it. Success is now in your hands. If you focus on process, do your best, and enjoy it.
So what is a growth mindset? It is the belief that our basic abilities can be developed and improved through dedication and hard work. How do we develop a growth mindset? Embrace imperfection. Face challenges bravely. Replace negative thoughts with more positive ones. Become truly authentic, which means to be confident in yourself. Learn from mistakes or embrace mistakes. Here is some growth mindset advice. Embrace challenges. Persist in the face of setbacks. See effort as the path to mastery. Learn from criticism. Find lessons and inspiration in the success of others. The next portion of this presentation will be on grit and resiliency and how they relate to growth mindset.
I recently read the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. Angela's a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania, and she's obsessed with finding out the answer to the question, who's successful and why? She's conducted studies involving national spelling bee champions, elite military training graduates, and top corporate salespeople to determine what was the biggest predictor of their success. She wondered, was it talent or was it effort? Now, our society would have us believe that it would be talent. We have the tendency to marvel at natural talent and overlook the importance of effort. Surveys show that we commend people who put in the effort, but we don't actually believe it can compete with natural talent. We often discount our own abilities when going up against people who have a higher IQ or appear more naturally gifted. But Angela has found the following to be true in study after study. Where talent counts once, effort counts twice. Angela explains this using a simple formula. Talent times effort equals skill, and skill times effort equals achievement. When you apply effort to any base level talent, you get skill. When you apply effort to skill, you get achievement. The science shows that grit, the sustained application of effort towards a long-term goal, is the biggest predictor of lifelong achievement. For some, it's an inconvenient truth. Certain people like to see natural talent and use it as an excuse as to why they would never achieve what those people can, and don't even bother trying in the first place. But for others, it can be liberating, knowing that they're not doomed to mediocrity due to a lack of talent. If they put in the effort, they can achieve great things. Sure, there are some limitations. All of us can't make the NBA. We're not all 6'9". But you could become one of the best players in your local basketball league. By remembering that talent counts once, effort counts twice, we can be hopeful that we can one day become more than we think we can, that we can achieve great things despite not winning the talent lottery. But being gritty is hard. Resisting endless temptations to quit or experiencing failure is extremely difficult to deal with. But Angela says we all have the ability to grow our grit if we direct our focus in 4 specific ways. First, develop a fascination with what you're trying to do. Second, strive to improve each day. Third, remind yourself of the greater purpose. And fourth, adopt a growth mindset. Charles Darwin admitted to not having great quickness of apprehension. To discover the mysteries of natural science without possessing supernatural intelligence, Darwin developed an obsessive fascination and was said to keep questions alive in the back of his mind, questions that related to what he was observing, that drove him to discover the connection between all living things. His deep interest in the natural sciences and constant questioning led him to the breakthrough that we now know as the theory of evolution. So what questions are most intriguing to you? Find the questions that fascinate you, and you'll find the capacity to stay gritty while trying to achieve something great. Next, aim to improve yourself every single day. Compete with who you were yesterday. Olympic gold medal swimmer Rowdy Gaines once said, "At every practice, I would try to beat myself. If my coach gave me 10 100-meter swims one day and asked me to hold it to 1 minute and 15 seconds, the next day, he would give me 10 100-meter swims, and I would try to hold it to 1 minute and 14 seconds." Angela says that the refrain of all paragons of grit is that whatever it takes, I want to improve. It doesn't matter how excellent they already are. So how can you carve out time each day to push your abilities and seek constant and never-ending improvement? The third way to grow our grit is to remind ourselves of the greater purpose. Angela conducted a survey of 16,000 adult Americans to determine what was a bigger contributor of grit, obtaining a feeling of pleasure or feeling a greater sense of purpose. She found that people on the upper half of her grit scale experienced a similar level of pleasure in what they were doing, but she found that higher levels of purpose directly correlated to higher levels of grit. Angela says, the most gritty people see their ultimate aims as deeply connected to the world beyond themselves. You could be a bricklayer simply laying the bricks for a cathedral, or you could be a bricklayer building the house of God. It's largely up to you to determine what purpose or greater meaning your work has. Whatever you come up with has the capacity to raise your level of grit. The last way to grow your grit is to develop a growth mindset. Bill McNabb, the past CEO of Vanguard, the world's largest provider of mutual funds, interviewed leaders within the organization to see who were successful and who weren't. He found that long-term success was dependent on a core belief. Those who believe that, I can't learn anymore, I am what I am, this is how I do things, routinely failed to move up to a senior level. To be gritty, you need to scrap the theory that your abilities are fixed, because it's simply not true. Neuroscience has shown that we have an enormous capacity to change our brains and learn new skills as we get older. The brain is plastic, and you can mold it through sustained effort and experience. Reflect on a time when you started something new that you were scared you couldn't learn, but you actually did. Use the memory of that experience to disrupt any beliefs that your abilities are fixed. In the end, Angela says that learning to stick to something is a life skill that we can all develop. By remembering that the science shows that grit matters more than talent, and that we all have the capacity to grow our grit, we can develop the confidence to start taking action despite how untalented we think we are. That was the core message that I gathered from Angela's book.
Grit is the tendency to sustain interest in an effort toward very long-term goals. Grit involves a passion for a goal, the expectation to achieve success, sustained, consistent effort. Grit can be developed, and it definitely requires a growth mindset. Resiliency. According to Corey D. Miller, it is the ability to bounce back after we have struggled, faltered, or failed. It is the ability to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, take a moment or two to collect ourselves, and then get back to the business of pursuing our goal. Resiliency involves optimism, adapting well in the face of adversity. Resiliency keeps you moving toward the goal and helps sustain a growth mindset. Ten ways to build resiliency and grit. Number 1, if you are not a social person, becoming more social by purposefully connecting with others can help. Number 2, gain control over how you respond to negative events. Number 3, getting used to change. You must learn to adapt and be flexible. Number 4, break large goals into smaller, more attainable steps. Number 5, commit to making decisions. Do not be indecisive. Number 6, learn what you can when you struggle through a bad experience. Number 7, forget negative self-talk and trust yourself. Number 8, bad things will happen, but try and think about them from a lifelong perspective. This too shall pass. Number 9, practice optimism. Do not deny the bad, but always look for the good. And number 10, practice self-compassion. Creating grit for students. Learn and grow from mistakes. Break down problems into smaller problems. Use feedback wisely. Always self-reflect. Create goals that encourage growth. Practice, practice, practice. And never give up.